Hello, I am going to share another guided imagery um, meditation with you. It is something that I learned in the mid 90s when I was taking classes um, in Durango, and I learned this particular technique, um, which I may not verbatim give you the way it was taught to me, but I was taught this by a very gifted psychic healer in some energy classes I was taking with some friends. Her name was Diane Zoomer. I'm not sure if she's still in the Durango area or still teaching, but at the time we were taking a lot of classes from her, and it was a time of great healing for me in many, many different ways. So I have to thank her for a lot of techniques, and especially the energy teaching, which has been a benefit for me in my clinical work and now in my spiritual work with other people. And I find that this particular technique is something very quick that you can do. Don't get wrapped up in the story, as they say. It's really something that you can do in 5-10 minutes at the most. And you can do with people that are close to you, people that you struggle with, people that are in your family, whether they're living or not, actually. And part of it, as you practice it, you can get in deeper and start looking at karmic ties between the two of you, karmic rings, and I think that there may be even more ways to use this technique with different things that maybe where our hooks are or triggers are to help clear the energy. So I'm going to start with just the basic part, and then I'll give you the second part where you can look at rings to bring in what we consider past lives. If you don't believe in past lives, it could be just patterns, so it may show up as a past life in what many people believe to be a past life, but maybe it's just a story that helps you figure out what your hook is with that person or that agreement. The idea is that you want to bring that into present time, so you're not working on 300 lifetimes ago. Or if you don't, again, believe in past lives, perhaps it is something to show you a pattern between you and that other person, or maybe it's just a pattern that you're working on to clear out of your space. So, with that, I'm going to start with the basic. So I call this separation roses because that is the way that I was taught, so we use roses. Perhaps you can use a sunflower or anything else, I'm not sure. So I would say at least start with the idea of the rose, and then if you want to change it up to a different flower or a tree, that you do that. But I'll give it to you as a rose. So the idea is that you think about someone that you're close to. And I'll give you just a little snippet of a story. For me, I did a rose that was me, and one that was my son in the mid-90s. He was a teenager, and often he was pretty grumpy with me, which I thought was just being a teenager, but I was really worried about him on so many levels. Plus, I was dealing with a lot of guilt because I was coming to a lot of realizations about how my trauma and lack of understanding and awareness left me to not parent in the way that I would have wished I would have done. So I had guilt and worry, right? So this was my rose. This was his rose. And when I called my energy out of his rose, I didn't think there would be very much. I literally moved. I was shocked. But it was a good awareness for me, like all of that worry and guilt, I was just like smothering his rose. So he couldn't breathe. No wonder he was grumpy with me. So that's my example. So as you do this, so you have a rose, that's you. So you just may believe this is a rose and this is you. And this rose represents the person that you're wanting to look at, right? So you just imagine, use your imagination. You don't have to be very visual. It's just a knowing. Like, what do those roses look like? Are they full? Are they nourished? Are they crumpled? Are they wilted? Are they closed buds? What do they look like? And then with your intention, you want to pull all of the energy this person has in your rose out, and it goes back to their rose. And just notice what happens when that happens. How does their rose change? How does your rose change? Then you do the same thing with any energy you may have in their space, and you pull it out and you send it to your rose. And again, you just notice, oh, how did it change? How does it feel? What does it look like? Now, with this person's rose, what we were taught to do, and what I prefer to do as well, is I take that rose and I ask for a healing on that rose, and I send it to the sun, to a golden bubble, in a balloon. I send it to the source, to divine, God, whatever you call that, and ask for a healing, and ask for that energy to go back to that person if they're willing to accept it. And they may not, and that's okay. So if they don't, it'll just hang out in their space until they're ready for it, because it's their energy. It's not yours. But I like to send it back healed. I feel like that's the better thing to do. I did used to have a friend that liked to pack dynamite around the other rose and blow it up when she was working on somebody she had an issue with. So be that as it may, I prefer to do the other way. And then with your rose, then you want to ask the divine light, the golden sun, to come and heal your rose. And heal that energy, whatever that might be. And you might get some intuitions about what that energy was about in doing this. And then you take that rose and it goes into the light, and it goes above your head into the golden sun, which is your top chakras, as we call them. And you let that energy just start filtering back down into you. So you're calling your energy back, and it's filling up your space in a healed way. So that's the basic of the separation roses. So again, you can do this with people that you have a hook with in some form or fashion, whether it's a good one or a bad one. It may be a relationship you're struggling with. It may be a coworker, parents, and perhaps even someone who's passed. So that is that piece of it. Now, if you're wanting to look to see if there are cords between the two of you, or what we would look at as rings around that stem, those are past lives, as we were taught. And again, if you don't believe in past lives, then just think of it as rings that are representing patterns between you and that other person, or maybe just a pattern that you have. So when you look at those rings, like, how many are there? And which one lights up? And if one lights up, you can go and look at it. And the intention is, and it's always about intention with everything you do. Intention is almost 100% of anything that we do, right? So you ask, what do I need to know about this? What is it? You may see a whole storyline. So that's how it'll show up for a lot of folks, like a past life. Or again, for those of you who may not believe in past lives, it may look like a story about another time, but look for the pattern. Because really, whether it's a past life or whatever it is that you believe, the core of it is, what is the pattern? What's the loop? Because I want to bring it into present time. I don't want to keep repeating the loop, whatever that might be. And so you look at that, take what you need to know, and then you take that ring, and it's like you break it up like spokes in a wheel. Sometimes the ring will look like an old wagon wheel, with the spokes and everything, and you break it all up, and with the intention that you're going to dissolve it in fire, dissolve it in light, Dissolve it however your imagination would like to dissolve it, and bring it into present time. And again, you ask for the healing energy on that rose. Again, you do the same thing. Bring that rose up above your head and the energy, and you allow it to filter down. So this is a technique and gifting I wanted to share with you tonight. And I have a few more that I will do. And I'll try to do one a week for a while, and maybe 2 a week, because I kind of have a set I want to gift out to the world. That will be there for all time. So I hope this was helpful. I wish you blessings, grace, peace, joy, some joy and love. And remember to breathe. Thank you. If you have any comments, leave them, and take care.